Some of you maybe who've watched my videos or read my poems or been to our events or some of that will know that maybe I tend to talk about or want to talk about presence a lot. And I was thinking about this and I was realizing that to me presence is almost an imperative, an ever deepening presence is imperative on the not just spiritual path but actually on the path of life. And without presence, what do we have? Who are we? Where are we? Are we lost? Are we kind of lost in a dream somehow? And I think we are. And so I've reflected over time and over the years as my own sense and awareness and deepening into presence has changed in ways that I would never have expected. There's a certain amount of maturation that happens in presence that we're kind of unaware of, because I think we tend to think that presence is almost some end place. It's the arrival at presence. Now I'm present. Now something, now I know, or now I see, clearly the reality and the truth. And there's a lot of, truth in that, but it's also not, presence is not an end point, it's a doorway. Presence is a window. Presence is an opening into infinity. Presence is an opening into the eternal beingness that is infinity, the infinity of our true nature. It's presence, true presence. It's not just having the capacity and being able to sit with somebody and really, hear what they say from a place of openness. But it has this profound capacity, of course, as well. But it's actually a doorway into something mysterious, beyond mind's compartmentalizing, beyond mind's dividing everything up. Presence has many nuances almost to it. It's not fixed. It's not a fixed thing. I mean, let's consider presence. Ultimately, presence has no resistance in it. Has no resistance to its experience. Has no resistance to its experience. So presence is a boundaryless almost. There's no boundary of self in it, and yet in presence there's very much a groundedness, a rootedness in being, in the body almost, in the body but not of the body. That's a beautiful phrase that I like to use. Being here in the body but not of the body, in the feeling sense but not of the feeling sense. It's like a paradox of being fully present and actually fully open at the same time. There's something extremely healing about this kind of presence, because it has no argument in it. It's available. It's available to hear what it needs to hear. Whatever's incoming can enter. There's no filter as such. Now, I mean, to the mind, this sounds almost terrifying. Of course, we know this. Presence is not of the mind. So how do we cultivate presence? I know that meditation is the first word that springs to mind for many people. And I do know that for myself, meditation was, very helpful. Focusing, becoming aware of the breath, becoming aware of thoughts, sensations arising in the field, arising in the body, aware of the discomfort, aware of the tendency to struggle, aware of resistance. Hold on. The awareness unfolds as we deepen. That's the thing. So, yes, everything that begins to erode the resistant self, everything that erodes, that begins to erode, that contributes to the erosion of the rigidity of self, supports the ever deepening of presence. It can't be forced. So, if the body is agitated, if the nervous system is hyper, if we're stuck in sort of the reactivity cycle, no presence. It comes and goes, of course. When the trigger is not around, I spoke about the triggers, about reactivity yesterday. If they're not there, well then there's a certain sense of presence. And then it's gone. And then it's gone when the reactive self jumps back in and the triggers come. But also just, generally speaking, if the body is holding a lot of stored up agitation, built up over the years of emotional suppression, if the body is over toxic, overladen with toxins, overburdened with addictions, well, of course, they're going to dominate the energy system. They're going to dominate they're going to take the presence that we have. And those addictive mechanisms are stuck in the energy body, in the emotional body, in the mental body. And, they have to be dealt with. One way or another, they have to be dealt with, or presence is not going to be revealed, because we're going to be stuck in a perpetual struggle, presence, struggle and resistance. No, they don't kind of live together. They don't harmonize. They just don't. So, that what I'm trying to say, long story short really, is, the courting, the knowing of presence is an evolution of us. It's a maturing of us. It's an ever deepening of us. It's a challenge to us. It's a challenge to everything that we've held on to. Because to become open, which is another way of saying present, is to undo the tangled web of us, the tangled knots of us, and by and by what's left is itself present. It's not as if we do anything, we undo everything. It's amazing on the spiritual path how much of it, is just simply an undoing, and how that undoing reveals so much almost underneath itself. Phenomenal, and we're hooked in because we live in cultures where doing and doing up and acquiring and gathering more and learning more and knowing more is the key, because we're trained into that kind of system, that it goes against almost our very nature, but not quite our real nature, but it goes against our conditioned nature to even approach the idea of undoing everything that has been done up. So we kind of resist that, I think, for a long time, until we stop. Because the suffering of endlessly seeking truth in more doing up is revealed, and once it's revealed, you haven't got any choice but to undo. And undoing is where the pain is, and undoing is where the confusion and the fear. But undo we must, and there's a great grace in that. So, in conclusion, I would say, court presence. Don't fixate on it. Undo whatever can be undone. Open to a deeper allowing. Presence is love. Love is presence. The unconditionality of being. And then when you get distracted, lost in the dream, triggered, don't worry, come back. See, presence can only happen in the now. There's no other time that it can happen. And when we really realize that, we stop future imagining, past recrimination, and we just return here to the best of our capacity again and again and again, realizing that the now is all we have. And the devotion ultimately is only really to the now, to the now, to the now. Great. And if you like this video, and if you like any of my other videos, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and throw me a comment. I would appreciate it. And I'm quite interactive, and I'll get back to you. Any questions, any insights, anything to say about your journey, throw me a comment. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.